about my knight a little bit and work on his base some. So this is my Free Blade Knight that I have been working on. He was a gift from my husband for Valentine's Day, and it has taken me an exceptionally long time to decide how I wanted to paint him, what I wanted to do with him, and all that kind of good stuff. So I chose to not do him in any particular house or anything like that, and instead just sort of do him in my own colors, because that way I can carry him out to pretty much any army that I want to use. So if I wanted to take him with my AdMech, I could. If I wanted to take him with Space Marines, I could. Basically anything like that. And I like that versus having him be super themed. It also gave me an excuse to use all of the Canis Rex bits and stickers, which are really neat, without making him a Canis Rex knight. So I made him a custom face here, where he's got some teeth. Come on, camera. Come on, you know you want to focus on it. Come on. There we go. Where he's got some teeth. He's got a little nose. It's basically 2 knight masks that I put together, and then did some bits in green stuff, and then cut some bits out of it, as you can see, for the eyes. Now he's fully magnetized, so everything comes off. Here, the shoulders, his waist, and the base. Also, the top weapon here is also fully magnetized. There's a magnet down inside there, and then there's one in here. And then if you want to swap the face plates, I put a bar in there and then put a magnet on it, and there's a magnet here on the back. So they swap in and out like that. Guns also magnetized, and as well to the side. These rifles here, I didn't paint these to match him. I painted them to be generic, because my husband, for Valentine's Day, got me 2 knights. He got me this one, and he got me a Chaos Knight. And sorry about that. He got me this one, and he got me a Chaos Knight. And I wanted them to be able to swap different pieces in case I wanted to change what kind of knight they were. So if I wanted them to be a all melee knight, he can do that, and the other guy can do that. Or for example, if I wanted the other guy to have the Gatling gun, stuff like that. So I recently won a kit bashing competition. I placed first out here in Hawaii. I created a knight Castellan into a Morkanaut, sort of like a looted knight. My one friend had bought the knight, and it got completely destroyed, so he didn't want it anymore. So I traded him for it and got some bits and kit bashed the living hell out of it into this big orc monstrosity. That was super great, super good. It was amazing that it won. It meant a lot to me that it won, because I had some stuff going on in my life at the time, and it sort of reaffirmed that I could still make cool things, which was really nice. Yeah, anyway. So with that night, they gave me 2 pieces of criticism on it. The first being that I suck at mold lines, which is 100% true. And the second being that his base was really basic, which was also true. I'd specifically given him a sort of really basic base, because then he matches the orcs that I'd done that had done a really basic base, and it was just pretty much red, like dirty kind of Martian soil looking stuff. And I chose to do them that way, one, because I wasn't super good at basing when I started those orcs, because they were one of the first armies I painted, and 2, because I wanted the like red Martian soil, because that's how the soil out here in Hawaii looks. So I thought that was pretty cool. So those are 2 points of criticism I had. So for this night, I wanted to take those and sort of work on them a little bit. So I started working on his base. So he's got some broken tower ruins and some bits there. And you're probably like, oh, why is he, all painted and the base isn't? That's really obnoxious. You're going to have a hard time doing that. He's fully magnetized to the base as well. So it does make them way easier. You can see on the bottom he's got magnets there. And some gunk, apparently. There we go. Let's get rid of that. He's got magnets there in the bottom, and he's got magnets in his feet. So these are just 10 by 2s or 10 by 1s. The 10 by 2s. 10 by 2s. Yeah, the 10 by 2s. He's got 10 by 2s on his feet. They pretty much go all the way up to the ankle, so that he's nice and strong on there. Base ain't coming off anytime soon. So, but we're gonna work on the base a little bit today. So I'm gonna pull him off, set him over here to the side, and he can watch as we work on his base. Get out of the way, demons. Alright, so I have a couple things for his base. Let's move that down so you can see a little better. I've got some big broken bits of wall, some little broken bits of wall. I really, when I was working, let's move that up a little again. When I was working on this, I really wanted to make sure that nothing stood in front of him, that he was the centerpiece for the whole bit, but everything sort of supported him and went around him. So this bit of the wall here is sort of slanted up, just so it's not just flat and looks a little better. So it's held up with a little piece of green stuff underneath. It's really hard to see. But the big one in the back here, that's sort of just in the back. So, alright, so I got some stuff for that. I've got some cork, which we're going to break up into little bits and put around. And then I've got some good old Hawaii dirt. So there's some little stones in there, and there's a bunch of stuff. We'll have to sort through it as we go. So, I do want to spray this today, so I'm not going to PVA it, although normally I would do this kind of stuff with PVA. So, we'll go ahead and we pull out some of, I'll pull out some bits of cork. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to pretend we're a little parrot, and we're going to rip all this stuff into tiny little chunks. This is exciting work right here. So the idea for doing little bits is to sort of give some of the rubble, like the chunks that fall off of it. So there's a bunch of broken pillars and things, and whenever anything like that breaks, it never breaks cleanly. There's always little tiny chunks, little tiny bits. Bits and bobs that fall off it. It's just dust it makes. Like it's never clean at all. So we want to create that a little bit. Because I will be, after I prime this, I will be hitting it with a texture paint. So it's going to be dirt, or like a sandy dirt kind of thing. And you know that'll add some of that texture, but it won't add like kind of rubbly kind of stuff. So, alright, that's probably good. Okay, so I've got a whole bunch of little bits here. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to add them all around anywhere I think there should be little bits. Now normally I do this with PVA, but because I want to spray this today, we're going to be doing this super glue. And then in there. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect, but one of the things we want to avoid with it is just sort of like laying down flat layers. Because this is a material lots of people use for rock. So they use it for rock because it's nice and flat on one side. And we want to sort of avoid it just is supposed to look like shale or whatever. So we want to layer them up a little, like that. So just a little bit of crap that probably fell off this wall. Put some back there. As it got knocked down by the night or whatever the hell knocked it down. It's probably just some little chunks, little bits and bobs and stuff that had fallen off of it like that. Nope. Now I do want these to stay down really well, but I'm also not going to be super asked about it because they are going to get primed after this, and that will basically completely hold them down. So we're going to put some more over here. Now we you're adding this kind of stuff. I don't. You want to be neat with it, right? And you want to have an idea to where you want to put it. You want it to make sense, but at the same time, you also don't want to be perfect with it. Because if you are, it won't feel natural to the person looking at the model. All right, so there's some. It's like a flat edge here, so we're not going to put any there. There's a bunch of broken stuff here. We're going to put it there. So all these wall bits, these were basically a piece of terrain that I bought off of a bits reseller for like $3, something like that. And I was like, well, time to cut this apart. Oh yeah. And some of it was a little hard to get to because I don't have a plastic saw. Because normally you don't need to get through big chunky bits like this, so I never bought one. But just with a heavy duty pair of nippers, I was able to get through it pretty good. I have a set of nippers from Tamiya. These I got these at New York Comic Con. They are I think built to do the heavier duty Tamiya plastics than sort of what Bandai does. So they cut through a Warhammer plastic like butter. They aren't as clean as the God hands are. As the blade's not as sharp, but I would never cut through this kind of plastic with God hands because you'll just break the damn things. Oh, I got some. Great. Come on. There, a little bit here as well. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and put a bunch of this around. On the feet, you can sort of see they go there, 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 and there, 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 and there. These sort of marks are a nice side effect of when I sprayed him with top coat. So they show me where the toes go. So I can see how close that toe is there. So when I add this piece, I'm going to make it just sort of barely stick out like that. So that it's not in the way of the toe. I'm going to put some here, I'm going to put some here. Great. Again, just trying to not be too neat with these, but also just trying to put them in not dumb places. We want to keep them around the rubble. We don't want them sort of just out in the middle or anything like that. But we want them. We don't want them to be perfectly neat because they'll look better if we don't sort of micromanage these too much. Go. There we go. Let's put some more there. Roll it all out. Is that everything we ripped up? It looks like everything we ripped up. Okay. And now that we've done that, this guy's going to go back in the bag. We're going to use some of the ballast, some of the grit, I guess. Let me find seashells. These are awesome for sea bases, but we're not doing sea bases. Alright. There we go, right there. Okay. So, now I'm just going to take some of this, just put it in a couple of spots. Now I will be using a texture paint after everything's done. But I also, let's go down. I also want a little bit more kind of grit and stuff in a couple of areas. specifically around the broken pieces. So the texture paint will be doing my ground work. And this is more little bits of rubble, stuff like that. Or little like sort of rubble dust. Things like that. So when I paint this, I'm going to paint it sort of as that rubble dust kind of color. And then, you know, like the same color as the walls. And then I will and then I'll do the texture paint over it. So we want to do that. Let's put some back there as well. Just everywhere that there would be really, really tiny like dusts and broken pieces and stuff like that. And again, I'm not being too neat with how I grab this. I would say normal super glue would work better than the gel, because the gel is going to have a little bit of its own body here, which isn't the best, but it's what I got. So make a deal with what we got. You know, the body's gonna, or the body of the glue is gonna give it a little bit of a lift, and really it's not, probably not what we want, but it's okay. Okay. Good. Let's put some of that sort of back here. I'm going to put some of that kind of in there and around there kind of thing. And then we'll put some up on there. Let me move that onto camera. On there, and there, and there. There we go. The nice thing is this is going to fill in some of the gaps in the pieces of cork too. And save us some time from having to do really, really tiny cork. Alright, so let's hit sort of this kind of area there. And that will look like it's sort of buried in dust, which is what we want. Okay. And let's do some more. Let's do some over here. We're gonna do some there, and we'll do some here. We'll do some back on that side too. Just sort of anywhere that, you know, would have this kind of dust. More there, and some more there. Alright, and there we have it. That's pretty much ready. I'm going to give it a couple minutes to dry, and then it's ready to paint. And we have our big chunks, we have a bunch of little chunks, we've got some sort of bigger clumps, and then we've got some rock kind of dust. So yeah, there it goes. Well, I'm going to give that a couple minutes to paint, and then I'm going to go paint it and get that sprayed, and it should be good. And thank you all for watching as I